slap me around and call me Susan.
I warned you, Susan.
So James Gunn once again gives us some Superman Legacy updates, and this tweet right here from a fan is very, very interesting for me because a fan asked, is Legacy going to have practical effects with VFX or mostly just VFX? And James Gunn responded with, Legacy is only practical effects, which of course took to Twitter, and everyone's a fucking comedian and said, oh, I guess David Cornsweat's going to fly, right? Haha, very funny asshole. So when James Gunn says practical effects, obviously there's going to be practical effects. Obviously there's going to be some stunning visual effects. But I think most people took that, or James Gunn misread that. And because another fan asked, did you mean legacy effects works on the film? And James Gunn says, I misread it as legacy effects. Yes. Now, legacy effects is a studio. It's a practical effects studio, not a visual effects studio. And Legacy Studios has worked on films such as Avatar, Iron Man 1, 2, and 3, The Avengers, Age of Ultron, Snow White, RoboCop, Pacific Rim, X-Men Days of Future Past, etc., etc. So they are a brilliant practical effects studio, which I think just speaks volumes for how beautiful Superman Legacy is going to look in the costumes. Oh, and I love the fact that, you know, we're not going to have any CGI outfits. It's going to be all practical, which means that Nathan Fillion wearing the Green Lantern suit is going to be all practical and not a Ryan Reynolds green vomit VFX aesthetic, which is mwah, chef's kiss. Another fan asked James Gunn, I have one question. I want to be a screenwriter and director going to college in LA next year. Do you have any advice in terms of how to create a better story? And this, I love James Gunn's response because, again, this is another indication on what we can expect from Superman Legacy and the DCEU films going forward. He says, in general, not always, spend half the production budget on the first 2 acts and the second half on the third act, especially with spectacle films. Producers often spread costs equally across the film, and it's one of the many reasons alongside storytelling deficiencies and not have scripts ready at the start of shooting. That film lags in the third act. For spectacle and action films, you generally want the third act to pace up. So for all the people saying that Superman Legacy is going to be all boring, it's just going to be a redux of Christopher Reeve's films, shut your mouth. The film's going to have excellent action, but the story and the characters will come first. And I know a lot of films, especially superhero films, the third act is always big explosions and you don't care about the characters, a la Michael Bay Transformers films, which I do like to some extent. I know that's a big complaint for Man of Steel, where the third act was just Superman and Zod destroying the city and punching the shit out of each other. Again, I loved it because I didn't mind it, but I know a lot of people had issues with it because, you know, again, where is the story going? Like, all you're doing is showing me 2 CGI characters destroying the city, right? That's a big complaint for Man of Steel, BVS, and Zack Snyder's Justice League, and the same goes for Marvel films as well, where there's a big third act where superheroes come together and destroy the city and destroy the bad guy, and there's not really any substance to it, you know, like the Avengers films or many of the MCU films. So I love the fact that James Gunn, again, giving you an indication that we're not going to do that with Superman Legacy or the DCU films. Our main focus is always going to be story and characters. How does the action serve the story? How does the action serve the characters going forward? Do you care? Are you invested enough so when the big explosion happens, we the audience are in fear for the characters, even though we know they're not going to die, especially like Superman and Batman, we hope. But again, we are invested enough that it keeps us on edge, and we are engaging with the action and not just being bored by it. Like, okay, here we go, another big action set piece that I don't give a shit about. How long is this fucking movie? So I love the fact that James Gunn gave that eloquent response. Again, Superman Legacy. If this movie fails, bro. I'm gonna be fucking depressed for a week. But I love the fact that James Gunn just knows what he's doing. Let the man cook, for God's sakes. So that's gonna be it. Hit like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Discord, TikTok. This is Cheeks, and let me in the comments down below. What do you think of James Gunn's comments? What do you are you excited that we're gonna get a lot more practical effects for Superman Legacy? And do you love James Gunn's approach to the storytelling that he's going to do with Superman Legacy and the DCU going forward? Story matters, character matters, and I love it. Love you all. Stay safe. Truth out.
I want to oil you up. What the fuck does that mean?